Okay, we're here at the University of Puerto Rico, Mayaguez campus, and I'm at the engineering department, and I'm talking to Dr. Marcel Castro, Sitiriche.
Sitiriche.
Okay, you're a doctor in engineering, right? I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about your participation in the letter that you sent Laura Taylor, the judge that's in charge of the bankruptcy case for Puerto Rico. And I know that a group of scientists, all of you are engineers basically, wrote a letter to her with a proposal for using basically solar energy to solve the situation with the energy crisis that the Puerto Rico Energy Authority has. So I would like to talk to you a little bit about what your specialty is within the electric field and what ideas you have to solve the situation here and make it a better system.
So I have been working mainly in the area of power electronics, power conversion, and also renewable energy, applied to rural areas, but also in Puerto Rico in different communities. And we as a group wanted to express our personal views regarding this topic of the future of the electricity in Puerto Rico. We felt it was our responsibility and moral duty to do so. And when we look at the potential for solar energy, we not only look at the environmental aspect, but also at the economic aspects. And right now, there are states that are looking at the prospect of solar energy combined with energy storage and batteries that the prices are going down, and what adjustment they will have to do to be able to survive as business models. And we have the advantage that there is a need for replacements of some of the generation that we have in Puerto Rico, but we need to make sure that we use that advantage as an opportunity to change the direction and be able to adapt to the new technology that is coming, either we like it or not. So there are some states that there's some studies that they predict some states are going to have solar plus batteries be the same price as the utility in as soon as 2025. A place like New York where the electricity is more expensive, and others will take longer, than maybe 40 more years in Texas or Kentucky. But because Puerto Rico has a higher price of electricity, we expect that price of solar plus batteries, parity with the cost of the utility, will come sooner. So we need to be prepared, because if we don't prepare and we don't do the right decisions now, looking into the future, then we're going to have a conflict of customers that they want to get out of the utility by buying their own solar system with batteries, and maybe some legislation will try to be put in place so that there is a charge for the solar energy, for example, to prevent a massive defection of the grid. To prevent too many people leaving the grid at once, which will make the electricity more expensive for the ones that stay.
So basically what you're saying is that because our price is high right now, compared to other places, even though solar might look to be a little bit more expensive for a few more years, that eventually the expectation is that it's going to be much less expensive, and then that would make more people leave the grid, because we do have the people that have the money are leaving already. But this would make it feasible for people with less income to leave the grid also, and then the authority wouldn't have any clients left.
Yes, right now solar rooftop panels is cheaper than the grid, but without batteries, a grid type. So you still depend on the grid to be able to have it cheaper today. But in the near future, that is not going to stay the same. So when in the near future it becomes cheaper to have solar photovoltaic panels with batteries, then there's not going to be no economic incentive for people to stay in the grid. They take a loan, you buy it, and then you have your own autonomy. And instead of fighting that in 5-10 years, we need to make decisions now to enable a transition in which everybody benefits. because if we don't, then we're going to have a conflict of interest from consumers, from the electricity grid, and also private producers or generators of electricity. So right now we are in an advantageous position to make a transition now, as compared, for example, to a system that have generation plants that do not have to be changed in the next 40 years. Those utilities actually will be in a weak position when the solar plus batteries become more competitive in terms of pricing than their grid. That's not going to happen in some states that have very cheap electricity for 40 years, so some have time. But other places like Hawaii, it already happened, and New York City is expected to happen in the next 10 years.
So, in other words, we're in a position right now where we have to, or are considering to change fuel energy from the plants, and they were talking about, for example, natural gas. But we would have to enter contracts for 30, 40 years on the island, which would keep us stuck in that position that you say is not going to be an advantage in a few years. So what you're trying to say then is that you think we should focus on investing in solar? Even the authority should look at that and restructure that way?
So the main thing is to look at how to maximize solar energy. And to do that, we're still going to need some fossil fuel based electricity at the grid level. But if we substitute a big fossil fuel generation plant, a big one with a few smaller ones, then we will be able to enable more solar photovoltaic electricity to be included in the grid. So right now, any fossil fuel generation that is going to be added, it should be built in the place that have already been impacted, where there are all generation units that are going to be taken out, and they should not be big, because the big ones do not provide the flexibility to not only provide solar energy, but the flexibility that we need to be competitive and have a stable system in the long term.
So the idea is to, whatever we're going to do now, we have to look at it as a short-term investment. I mean, a short-term necessity, because we're going to be constructing into other types of designs, so that we don't have to have as much fossil in the future. How can a person, an individual, contribute to this?
So we need to make decisions in the short term that are going to affect us in the medium and long term. So it's very important, even when we look at the economics, to look for the best option, but not only this year and next year, but the best option in the next 15, 20, 30 years. And that's why we need to put in consideration the disruptive technology that we expect that solar plus batteries are going to be in the utilities. But that's not also a magic solution. We also need, that we as citizens provide solutions in the way of conservation, and also providing efficiency, making choices with more efficient technology besides the solar rooftop that we propose. For example, we need to be willing to consume less, but also we need to be willing to be flexible in when we consume electricity, to maximize the amount of local renewable energy resources that we can introduce. And that could mean a change in the way of life that we have. So we want to have a more democratic energy, and with that we need to assume responsibility for the decisions that we are willing to take as a people.
So is that compatible with things like the weatherization program, where people are changing their refrigerators and their water heaters and stuff like that?
Exactly. Yeah. We that's part of the efficiency. We should have more efficient equipment, and the conservation also. So if we have, for example, air conditioners that are much more efficient, that is one aspect that we invest now to save in the future, both environmentally but economically. And in terms of weatherization, also we have less loss of heat or the cool air to decrease the consumption. But beyond that, we also need to consider not only buying equipment that is efficient, but see how we should change some patterns in our lives to provide more flexibility and include better choices of energy for everybody. That's why to have the best system, we need to demand that we have a direction that benefits us all, that our quality of life is improved and by the electricity that we have, health-wise and also in other ways. But also we need to take responsibility for our decisions every day, the way we use energy and the way we invest in the different systems that we choose.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Doctor. Thank you very much for the information, and we hope that you'll be listened by everybody that's making the decisions for us now.
Thank you.